Alright, so here we are on lesson 9, representing proportional relationships with equations. So for the last, I don't know how many lessons, we've been talking about, x's and y's, and we've been talking about how x is the input and y is the output, and we've been talking about how money always goes on top and time always goes on the bottom. But now we have to think about what if we don't always have money and time specifically. So I want you to make sure you have written down that x is input and y is output. But now also x is what we call the independent variable. And y is what we call the dependent variable. So when we talk about independent and dependent, write these up at the top so you have them down. So independent is the value that we can change. Alright, so independent we can change. The dependent, think about what the word dependent means, or when you depend on someone or something. That is the value that's determined by the independent variable. Alright, so again, these two words are new and they're going to take some practice, but we do really need to start thinking about everything in terms of independent and dependent. So if we look at the first example here, it says Jackson and his grandfather constructed a model for a birdhouse. Many of their neighbors offered to buy the birdhouses. Jackson decided that building birdhouses could help him earn money for his summer camp, but he is not sure how long it will take him to finish all of the requests for birdhouses. If Jackson can build 7 birdhouses in 5 hours, write an equation that will allow Jackson to calculate the time it will take him to build any given number of birdhouses, assuming he works at a constant rate. So our key word here is that constant rate. That means that we're going to find our constant k, which we know is y over x. But first we need to figure out which one is going to be our y and which one is going to be our x. So lucky for us, in this first one we do have time. So x is going to be time and y is going to be birdhouses. So if we're finding our k, our y would be 7 and our x would be 5. So our k is 7 over 5. So our equation would be y equals 7 over 5x. Alright, and now that we have that part done, that's the hardest part. Now we're going to use our equation to answer these questions. Part B says, how many birdhouses can Jackson build in 40 hours? So we know we're going to use our equation y equals 7 over 5x. And hours we know is time. So that is our x value. So we are going to do 7 over 5 times 40 over 1. We cross divide, we get a 1 and an 8, and 7 times 8 is 56. So our answer would be 56 birdhouses. Right? Part C says, how long will it take Jackson to build 35 birdhouses? So we're going to use our equation y equals 7 over 5x. So to build 35 birdhouses is y. So we have 35 equals 7 over 5x. And to undo the multiplication here, we're going to multiply by 5 over 7. And the same thing on the other side, 5 over 7. And when we cross divide, we get a 1 and a 5. And 5 times 5 is 25. So 25 equals x. So our answer would be 25 hours this time. And then one more here, part D. Says, how long will it take to build 71 birdhouses? So y equals 7 over 5x. Birdhouses is y. So we'd have 71 equals 7 over 5x. So we multiply by 5 over 7 on both sides. And when we do that, you can use the calculator for now. We would get 50.7 equals x. So if we wanted to know how much 0.7 would be in minutes, we would do 0.7 times 60. So then that would get us 50 hours and 42 minutes. Alright. So you can go ahead and flip over to the next page. Just one more example here where it's talking about Al's produce stand. So, Al's produce stand sells 6 ears of corn for $1.50. Barbara's produce stand sells 13 ears of corn for $3.12. Write two equations, one for each stand, that models the relationship between the number of ears of corn sold and the cost. Use each equation to help complete the tables. So, I'm going to have you try this on your own. So first you need to maybe split it down the middle here. You need to find a K for both of them. And then you need to write a Y equals equation for both of them. And then fill out the table. Alright, so think about which one would be our Y and our X. For this, think about what we're comparing, cost and ears. Alright, and I'll help you with that. Cost, remember, would be Y, money always goes on top, and ears would be X. So go ahead and fill out this whole page, and then we'll make sure that we have it all correct in class.